Good day to each and everyone. I'm Mohammad Hashim Lumna, and today I'm going to discuss to you how to price futures and options contract. So this is a continuation of the part 1 of the report. First, let us discuss the cash and carry arbitrage. So the following assumptions are given about CXY company. Asset CXY is selling in the cash market for 90 pesos. It pays the holder with certainty of 10 pesos annually in for quarterly payments of 2.5 pesos, and the next quarterly payment is 3 months from now. We also assume that the future contract requires delivery 3 months from now, and the current 3-month interest rate at which funds can be lent or borrowed is 8% per year. So we also assume that the price of the futures contract is 97 pesos. Now in the given example, we can observe that the futures contract price of 97 pesos is much higher than the cash market price of 90 pesos. And so we can conclude that the futures contract is overpriced. So what are we going to do? So using the cash and carry arbitrage strategy, the following strategies should be followed. Number 1, borrow 90 pesos for 3 months at 8% per year, and then purchase asset CXY in the cash market for 90 pesos, and then sell the futures contract at 97 pesos. Now to determine the arbitrage profit or the risk-free profit, we have to calculate the total proceeds or receipts and the total outlay or payment that we have made. So first is yung total proceeds. So we receive a proceed from sale of CXY to settle the futures contract amounting to 97 pesos, which is yung ating futures contract price, and the payment for holding the asset for 3 months amounting to 2.5 pesos. That is calculated by dividing the 10 pesos annual payment by 4 quarterly payments, and we have a total proceeds of 99.5 pesos. Now from the proceeds of loan naman, we paid the principal loan of 90 pesos, and also we pay the interest on loan for 3 months. That is calculated by dividing the 8% by 12 months times 3 months. So that is 1.8 pesos. Now our total outlay or payment that we have made is 91.8 pesos. So i-deduct lang natin yung total proceeds na 99.5 to by the total payment natin, and we have the arbitrage profit of 7.7 pesos. Now what about if the future contract is underpriced? So suppose instead that the futures price is 82 pesos, yung strategies na gagawin natin is i-reverse natin yung cash and carry arbitrage strategy natin. So the first thing we need to do is to buy the future contract directly at Philippine or 82 pesos and sell the asset for 90 na cash price or cash market price rather, and then invest natin yung 90 pesos na nakuha natin for 3 months with 8% interest. Now just like what we did doon sa overpriced na futures contract natin, we also have to calculate for the payment that we have made and the receipts that we have received from the futures contract. So the price we paid to purchase the asset CXY is 82 pesos, and the proceeds that we have paid to lenders of asset CXY to borrow the asset is amounting to 2.5 pesos. That is calculated by dividing the 10% or 10 pesos rather na annual payment by 12 months times 3 months na i-hold yung asset natin. So our total outlay or payment is 84.5 pesos. Now for the proceeds naman or receipt, so the total proceeds is 91.8. That is calculated by adding the principal from maturing investment, yung investment na nilagay natin or ininvest natin, by the interest earned on loan na 1.8 pesos. That is calculated by multiplying the 8% annual interest rate to the 90 pesos na principal, and then divided by 12 times 3 months. So our arbitrage profit is 7.3 pesos. So now that I have already discussed the arbitrage model, the reverse cash and carry arbitrage model, and the cash and carry arbitrage model, I will now discuss the theoretical futures price based on arbitrage model. So the formula for that is F is equals to P plus P times R minus Y. That is where F is the futures price, P is the cash market price, R is the financing cost, and Y is the cash yield. So you also have to take note of the following. Now, if RY or the cash yield is greater than the financing cost, our futures price will be lesser than the cash market price, and that it will sell at a discount to cash price. Now, if our carry is negative naman, or the cash yield or Y is lesser than the financing cost, then our future price will be greater than the cash market price, or it will sell at a premium to cash price. Now, if our cash yield is equal to the financing cost, then our futures price will also be equal to our cash market price. So our finance cost is 2%. That is calculated by dividing the 8% annual interest rate by 12 months times 3 months. Then yung ating cash yield, which is equal to 3%, that is calculated by dividing the 10 pesos na annual payment divided by 90, which is yung ating cash market price, divided by 12 months times 3 months, and we have 3%. So i-substitute lang natin sa ating formula for futures price. So we have a futures price or theoretical futures price of 89.1. So now let us move on to the options pricing. So the following are the factors that affect option pricing. First is yung ating stock price. Second, yung ating exercise or strike price. The time to expiration, the volatility of underlying stock, and the risk-free rate. So options pricing can be divided into two major components. The intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is yan yung price ng option if you are going to exercise it now, and yung time value if you are going to exercise the option at time of maturity. And also the other factors that affects the time value is the volatility and the rate of interest. Now, there are a lot of models that we can use in order to calculate for the options price, but I will only discuss the Black-Scholes model because of the time constraint. So here is the formula for Black-Scholes model or formula. V sub C is equal to P sub 0 times N sub D1 minus X over exponent, I don't know, and times N sub D2. Yung N sub D1 natin is an area in the standard distribution table, while yung fraction natin na X, which is the exercise price, over itong risk-free is simply yung ating present value. And we also have our D1 formula, because we will be needing that in order to find the N sub D1, and the D sub 2, which is the dividends at T of 2, which is also equal to D sub 1 minus standard deviation times square root of time to maturity. So again, yung X na yan is yung ating exercise price. And then itong parang sign ng O is ito yung ating standard deviation. Now let's have an example to clearly understand this formula. So we have a stock price or P sub 0 of 62 and exercise price, which is our X, which is equal to 60, and our time to expiration or T, which is 40 days, volatility of 32%, and the risk-free rate of 4%. Now, the first thing we need to do is to calculate for the dividend at year 1 or D sub 1. So, to calculate for that, we just need to substitute or put all the given information into the formula for D sub 1. So, natural log yung na yan, 62 divided by 60 plus 0.4 plus 0.5 times 0.32 to the power of 2 times 40 over 365, which is yung ating days in a year, divided by 0.32, which is yung ating volatility, times yung ating square root ng time natin, which is 40 days divided by 365 days. Then, i-simplify lang natin yan using our scientific calculator or if we have our financial calculator, pwede din. So, yung ating D1 is 0.404. The next thing that we have to calculate is yung ating D2. So, the formula for our D sub 2 rather, is D sub 1 minus the standard deviation times the square root of time to expiration. So, ayan, i-substitute natin yung ating information. So, yung D sub 1 natin is, yan yung na-calculate natin doon sa previous na i-calculate natin, minus 0.32, which is our standard deviation, times yung time to expiration, which is 40 days. And since yung time to expiration ay nagre-refer sa number of years, we have to divide the 40 days by the number of days in a year, which is 365. So yun, minus lang natin. Then we have a D sub 2 of 0.298. Again, yung ating N sub 0.40, which is equal to 0.6554. And yung ating N sub 0.30, which is equal to 0.6179, is nakuha natin sa standard distribution table natin. So now that alam na natin yung mga missing values sa ating formula to find the V sub C, we can now calculate for it. So again, yung ating formula for the V sub C is equal to P sub 0 times N sub D1 minus X over E to the power of risk-free rate times time, or simply our present value, times N sub T2. Then, i-substitute lang natin dyan yung ating given values or calculated values. We get the amount of $3.72 na value of the call option.